Hello, I'm Brandon from Pure Water Power, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Pure Water Power Single RODI system. The PWP Single, as we call it, is a multi-stage RODI system with a sediment and chloramine filter for pre-filtration, featuring a 40-inch RO membrane and a 10-inch DI cartridge to polish off for spotless window cleaning. So the unique part about this unit is a valve-styled restriction, which allows you to variably control how you want to restrict your RO membrane. However, we also drill in a 1 1/16 sized hole, so no matter what, even if you close your valve, you're not going to damage your RO membrane by closing off your restriction completely. It also allows you to be able to flush your RO membranes. Flushing your system is important because you will be able to flush out any buildup of brine and scaling that might appear on the surface of your membrane inside, which could cause future problems. So it's neat that you're able to flush out maybe once a week, or if you have high TDS, maybe you're doing that every other job. It's a really neat tool to preserve the lifespan of your membrane, as well as decide how much restriction you want. We typically say 4-to-1 restriction because you're getting 4 parts pure water to 1 part restricted wastewater, which is your concentrated solids, your rejected salts, all of those things that are just going to exit the system, while your pure water line will hit your DI. So the PWP Single includes an accessory bundle. Comes with everything you need if you're on the field, window cleaning, whatever your context is. Comes with filter wrench for your DI, as well as a filter wrench for your pre-filters. They come pre-tightened. If you ever notice a little water coming out, just give it a little snug. It's usually helpful. Also comes with magic lube. Applying this to your rubber gaskets and anything rubber on your cartridge will allow for a better seal, and that will allow for better pure water production. Also included is a TDS meter, so you can measure how many total dissolved solids are in your water, or basically measure how much stuff's in your water. It's a very helpful tool to understand how your system is performing and the health of your filters. Here we have the RO Guardian. This is a membrane preservative, which allows you to protect your membrane from long periods of sitting or winterizing your system. Highly recommended to use RV antifreeze if you're going to use it for that context, because that will allow to prevent any microbial growth, as well as prevent your membrane itself from becoming damaged due to freezing conditions. So very helpful. There's a QR code to understand more, and this will be very useful for wintertime. Last but not least, we have our waste discharge hose. So this hose is only for your wastewater. Just allows it to travel somewhere. Simply hook it up to your valve, and you're good to go. I highly recommend that you remove the waste hose when you are flushing your system. Due to the inner diameter of this hose, you might damage it, it might pop off. So this is a helpful thing to redirect your wastewater, but not necessarily recommended for flushing. So now that this unit is unboxed and you're ready to start cleaning, it's important to talk about initial setup of this system. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk about our hookups. So we have our inlet, outlet, and the wastewater is at the front of the unit. inlet is going to go on this side. I just don't want to create a kink, so we're going to do something like that. That'll do. Then we have our outlet. That's going to hook up to the outlet of the DI housing here. And then, included in your accessory bundle, we have the wastewater. So now, I'm going to go ahead. I had a cap on here to collect any water. And we're going to let that sit off to the side. So, when you initially run water through the unit, it's best to disconnect your DI because you don't want to prematurely use your resin when we are saturating the membrane. That is right, folks. We are going to saturate this membrane. And I'm going to tell you exactly why we want to do that. So, on initial setup, you can start cleaning windows and turn on the water, run, go ahead, and try to get streak-free cleaning. And you just might. However, to achieve the same efficiency as saturating for 12 hours, let it sit, you're wasting about 500 gallons of water to achieve the same result. So why not run water for 10 minutes, disconnect the hose that leads to your DI housing. You can have this routed outside somewhere. Highly recommended do not do this indoors, as I am doing. And then you can run water through your system. Let it run for 10 minutes. Alternatively, you can remove the cartridge that's inside here. Since we are indoors, that is exactly what we are going to do. You're going to remove the cartridge from the housing using the filter wrench provided by the accessory bundle. So if you're ever going to change your filter anyway, this is very useful information. You want to make sure you get your wrench with the handle to the right of your system. Notice I'm standing behind the unit, and you're going to pull towards yourself. Forget lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. It's all backwards. So at this point, you're going to spin right. If you give yourself 3 spins, 3 spins will allow you to not lose control of this housing as it comes out. So this was a pre-saturated cartridge, but we're going to remove this here. All right, so now that the DI cartridge has been removed, we're going to go ahead and run water through the system for the first time, and we're going to allow water to travel through for about 10 minutes. That's a proper saturation, because then you'll let that sit for 12 hours, and you're saving yourself 500 gallons worth of usage to get the same efficiency out of your membrane. So, I'm going to go ahead, run water into the unit. Okay, so we have water traveling through the system now, hitting our sediment filter and then the chloramine filter, which is going to help remove chloramines from the water. And that is water that is used by town and urban water settings. It's a ammonia-based chlorine that basically allows for better water treatment, but that treatment doesn't agree with RO membranes. So it's a very helpful filter, but it's something to keep an eye on because that's going to protect your membrane. So now as water travels through, we're going to hit the RO housing. And at this point, we have our restrictor. Currently I have it fully closed because there was a very strong stream coming out. So that 1/16 hole is doing a very proper restriction at this point. If I were to open it anymore, here you can see this is flushing. But again, as the inner diameter is very small, it's a very high pressure line. If you have the valve fully open with this on, it's going to spit like a fishtail. So bear that in mind. The pure water is going to come out the center of the RO membrane, and it's going to hit our DI, currently without the cartridge inside the housing, because again, we are just saturating at this point. So once you've done this for 10 minutes, you let the water travel through. You can shut off your source, cap off your waste properly, you can disconnect. We're just gonna depressurize. You might get a little splash, that's normal. That's just a little back pressure. So you might get some water coming out. That is okay. Just bear in mind, if you were to do this indoors, you might make a little bit of a mess. Anywho, you can hook the end of your waste hose to your inlet. That way it keeps your wastewater on a closed circuit and it's not going to continue dribbling on the floor when you're not keeping an eye on it. So that's your basic setup for the unit. You'd hook up your pole hose to this outlet, depending on what your setup is, how far the unit is from the building. This is your outlet. This is what's going to lead to your pole. So after 12 hours of sitting, you're ready to efficiently clean windows and efficiently use the filters provided by this unit.